Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path, and today is your Must Know Monday for Monday, January the 16th, 2017. I'm so glad to be back with you on our weekly Mondays. Since the start of the new year, I took just a little bit of time off. I did start back officially last Thursday when, if you didn't see it, you need to check it out, the Bling in the New Year necklace, which had lots of rubies, lots of crystals, so it was a lot of fun. But what I wanted to do today is I wanted to start us out with a simple, very, very simple peyote stitch ring. I wore a ring in a video. I think it was like a Facebook Live video back in December. And it was a ring with a Santa Claus on it. And a lot of people really, really like this ring. So I sold a lot of kits from that, and people just liked the simpleness of the piece. So I said, okay, well, this year I'm going to try to design a ring for each of the seasons that we go through, and maybe each of the holidays, whatever. So right now, my favorite thing to wear in this time of year is snowman. I love snowman for this time of year. The great thing about a snowman is you can almost wear it through February as well, just because it's still cold in a lot of places. So I came up with a ring. I actually came up with this one back in 2013, and I call him the Smiling Snowman. Dropped my stuff. Hang on. I'm back. But I call him the Smiling Snowman ring because he's smiling and he's so cute. But the cool thing about this pattern is that he's very, very, very simple to make. He takes 5 colors of Delicas. He takes a blue, any color blue that you want, white for his face, black for his top hat, his eyes, and his mouth, red for his scarf, which you could change it to any color you wanted, and I've used orange for his nose. So we're going to start out with a needle onto our thread. You can use Fireline, you can use 1G thread, you can use Hannah thread, which I'm using today. And if you've never used Hannah thread, I've been told that it's a lot like S-line thread is kind of, I guess, the way to do that. But the cool thing about your patterns is if it's a normal peyote stitch pattern, you're going to come with a graph pattern like this one and a word chart like this. And the word chart is simply going to tell you for each row exactly how many you're going to pick up. It's a lot like how to read our bead crochet patterns that we did earlier or later in the year last year. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to thread my needle onto about 2 yards of thread. It's completely, if you'll need more, if you need a bigger ring, or less if you need a smaller ring, but I like to start out with 2 yards. And so let me go ahead and get all this set up and we'll get started. To start, I'm going to thread on 1 blue Delicate. It doesn't matter what color blue you use. This is the one that comes in the kit. But I'm just going to drop this down, and I'm going to leave myself a short tail and go back up through the same bead that I just added. What this does is this is going to wrap the thread around the bead, and this becomes our stop bead so that our beads don't fall off. It also becomes the first bead in our first row. Once you have that one on, the word chart says that we are going to start with 10 beads. And the way you can also figure this out, according to your word or your actual chart, is you count your beads at like a zigzag. So you've got, let me find my needle here. So how I know I'm starting out with 10 is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I know that this first row here is going to be 10 of my blue beads. Now remember, you already have 1 on there, so you're going to have to thread on 9 more. And let those fall. So I have 10 total beads. I started working, threading on my beads from left to right, and now I'm going to work from right to left, or in my case, I'm going to work downward. I'm going to pick up 1 blue bead. I'm going to skip 1. So I'm going to skip this 10th one here. and go through the 9th one, which is going to be the very next one. So your mantra is pick up 1, skip 1, and go through 1 on this first row here. So when you pull these beads, you're going to want them to stack on top of each other just like this. I call it building a house, and your bricks have to stack on top of each other to make your house. Pick up 1 blue. I am going to skip 1 and then go through the next one. And put my finger there and pull on through. And if it starts to get loose, like this is here, like right now it looks like a hot mess, just hold your last beads, the beads here on the very end, and then pull the thread. And this will help to pull everything in place. Now, if these last 2 beads get wonky, you can fix them by just grabbing a hold of it and pulling down, just like this. So this whole row, all it is pick up 1, skip 1, and go through 1. Pick up 1, skip 1, and go through 1. Pick up 1, skip 1, and this time when you go through 1, it's going to be that very last bead, which is our stop bead. And you have your first 2 rows of peyote stitch. So from here, it's just very basic as to pick up 1 bead and go through the next bead sticking up, which is going to be the last bead that you actually added in the row. So I'm going to keep my finger on that bead and then pull the thread straight up. See, the reason I'm pulling that thread straight up is so that it keeps the tension tight. If you have a tendency to pull back like this, it's going to keep your piece very loose. That's one of the biggest things that I see beaders, especially new ones, that's the biggest mistake that they do. And, you know, they say, oh, I don't understand why my piece is so loose. And it's because when you pull that thread through, the thread needs to be... When you pull it tight, if I can find it here we go. When you pull it tight, that thread needs to be pulled straight up or straight down, depending on the direction that the thread is coming out of the bead. And I like to keep my beads that I go through, I like to keep my finger on them so it keeps them nice and tight. So here are my first 3 rows of peyote stitch. And how I know that I have 3 rows so far is you start where your stop bead and you're going to count up at a diagonal. So this bead here represents row 1, then row 2, and row 3. And then if I had a bead here, that would be row 4, and so forth and so forth. So the great thing about this little snowman pattern is that he starts with blue, then you have him, then you have a whole lot more blue, and that represents the rest of the ring. I always like to start him very close to where I actually start the piece, so that way I can get him finished, know that he's going to be the top part of my ring, and then just continue with one solid color. If you actually look at the word chart, it doesn't actually start the snowman on the word chart to row 12. Now, when you read a word chart, you'll see here it starts out. It tells me that working from the left, which that's the way we threaded on our beads, you want to pick up. It's got a number 10 and then 755. So 10 is how many beads we picked up in the first row. 755 is the color bead that we pick up. Okay, so then row 3, we're working from right to left. You're going to pick up 5 755s. Row 4, working from left to right, we pick up 5 755s. And it continues until we get here to this row when it actually tells us we would pick up 2 blue basically. And then, let me see, 2 blue, and then a black, an orange, or no, I don't know, I have to get there and see. Probably a white, an orange, and a black. But these are just your colored numbers. Now, they can also come in A, B, C, D, E, F, G type thing. So, like this one says 10A. You know, and then like down here it says 2A, 1C, and 2A. And I'll go ahead and show you because I know people are going to ask. This was the other little peyote ring that I came up with, and it was so funny because I originally started the video out doing this one because I was like, okay, this is cute. It's got snowflakes on it, da 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 da. When I got done, when I started it, it looks like a flippin' X. It doesn't look like a little snowflake. I was so bummed. All I could see the X in the middle, and I was like, oh, forget that mess. So I went back to the snowman. But I'm going to follow my little, you can either do the word chart or you can do the actual graph here. So if you can see where I'm at, I've done 2 rows so far here on the end. Oh, let me flip him this way here. Okay, so when I actually get ready to start my snowman, I will start him on this row here where let's see, I would do blue, blue, orange, blue, and black, okay? So let me show you again. Let me look at where I'm at here. Okay, so actually on the graph, I am right here, okay? So here's the tall bead and then the second one. But I want to go ahead and I want to start my snowman. So I'm going to be starting on this row right here, okay? So I'm going to pick up a blue, an orange, a blue, and a black. So basically what you're doing, if I can show you on this one, you are skipping, you're doing every other bead for the row. So I've got an A, a D, an A, and a B. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put on my blue, blue, orange. Where are you, orange? I need my orange and my black. See, I wasn't completely set up and on this today here. Here we go. So then I'll do his orange, then blue, and then black. So here is the start of the snowman. So we just finished this row, this A, A, D, A, B. Okay, so now we're coming to the next row. The next row is going to be B, A, C, C, A. Okay, so again, we finished this row here. So this is the bead we're currently coming out of. So when we come up, we're going to add a B, an A, C, a D, and an A. So a B, B, A, C, C, and then an A. So he's starting to come alive. Okay, so this is the last bead that we added, and we came through this bead right here to add it. So now we're going to do A, C, D, C, B. So again, it's A, C, D, C, B. A, C, D, C, and B. So he's coming along here. Okay, so this was the last bead we added, and we had to go through this. We went through this bead right here to add it. So now we pick up a B, a C, a C, a C, and a C. So basically we're going to do one black bead and the rest are going to be white beads down this row. So I hope you guys are starting to see how to read the word graph, or not the word graph, but just the graph in general, not necessarily the word graph. When it's just a very simple design like this, just looking at the graph is pretty easy. If you get into a more difficult design, it gets a little bit harder to be able to do that. So we got him so far. Okay, so we went through this A here. When we added this last C, we went through the A. So now for this row, we've got E, B, D, C, and B. Okay, so again, so we're going to have a red, a black, an orange, a white, and a black. And again, for his scarf, you can use any color you want to. It doesn't have to be red. I just liked red. So again, I'm going to put on my red, my black, orange for his nose, white, and black. Okay, and so you can follow the little lines here. So we added, the last one we added was this black, and we had to go through this one here to add it. So now we're going to a black, a white, a white, a white, and a white. Okay, so black for his hat here. And then the great thing about it is we're going to do white just all the way down. Now see here, I didn't hold the thread, and you can, or the bead that I was going through, and you can see there that it kind of got loose. So all I had to do is kind of push that bead back in place and then just hold it and pull that thread tight, and that'll keep that tight for me as I work. Now I want to show you, if you accidentally go along and say you're not paying close attention. Let me get this bead on here. Say you're not paying close attention and you pick up the wrong color bead. So this is supposed to be a white, but let's say I put a red on by accident. So all that I have to do to kind of take that off is go back through the very last bead that you went through, which was going to be my orange here. And then my red will pull out. And all I had to do to take off the red is just go straight back through it. And I'm going to hold the bead and pull the thread so that then it pulls off and I can continue doing my snowman. So I'm going to leave the graph sitting here for just 1 second so you can get a really, really good look at it. Or you can pause this video just by touching the middle of the browser there. You can pause it and be able to have the snowman right in front of you so that you can see what you need to add to finish up your snowman. Once you finish up the snowman, then you'll be able to just completely finish out the rest of it with your blue color to get to the length that you need. So here is the snowman, and here is all of my blue seed beads that I've got going on. Now I've gone until this will fit tightly around my finger. As you see here on the first row, you have a lower bead, an upper, a lower, an upper. I've finished to where it's exactly opposite on the other side. So I've got an upper, a lower, an upper, a lower. And that's what you'll want to do so that you can zip the piece up. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here to where the little tail thread is at. Now I'm going to get my needle under that stop thread. And I'm going to pull that out so that it's no longer inside of the stop bead. And I'm going to fold this piece together, just like this. So right now, my thread is coming out of this lower bead here on the bottom. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through the bead right across from it on this right hand side. Then I'm going to go through the bead over here on the left, through the next bead sticking up on the right, left, right. We're zipping the piece up so that you can't tell where I started and where I finished. And you're just zigzagging from the left hand side to the right hand side, and then from right to left. So that when I come back up to the top, my thread should be exiting out of the bead here on the left hand side, and my tail thread should be coming out of the bead on the right. So to completely finish the zip up, I have to come down through the bead on the right so that it connects the top of the beads, just like all the rest of them. Now here's the thing. If you put a knot, like if I was to stitch back up and put a knot right here, you're going to see it on the ring. And I don't necessarily want to see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle and I'm just going to stitch through my beads at a diagonal. As long as you don't see the thread, that's all that matters. And then I'm going to come up through the bead right next to where I'm coming out, and then down through the bead I was just coming out of. Okay. And then I'm going to go through a few beads at a diagonal. Then I'll go up through the bead right next to where I'm coming out, and back down through the bead I was just coming out of. This will lock my thread into place so that I don't have to worry about putting a knot into my piece, and I can just stitch the thread through it and get rid of it. Because like I said, anywhere on these rings that you put a knot, you're going to see it. So again, I'm just stitching through the beads at a diagonal, and then every so often I lock the thread, so I go down through the bead and then back up through the same bead that I was coming out of just a second ago, so that it locks that thread into place. And once I feel pretty secure about that thread, then I will trim this thread and then I will, and see, you can't tell where I just finished it, so then I will put the needle onto the tail thread and do the same exact thing. So once you have the thread stitched through on that one, then you have the ring complete. It looks like an infinity ring. You can't tell where you started and where you stopped. And you have this super cute little snowman now. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make this easy snowman ring. We do have kits available on my website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. You get the graph and everything that you need in the kit to make one ring up to a size 9. So there's lots and plenty of beads in there for you. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure and come back next time when we'll be on to another project. Have a great week. Bye-bye.